The Galactic Unity Academy of Velarath Prime had stood for 400 years. Its obsidian towers rose against 3 moons, its corridors walked by the brightest minds of 63 species. It had never, in 4 centuries, been humbled. That record ended the day Mara Ellison arrived. She came off the shuttle with a duffel bag on one shoulder, a chipped titanium water bottle in her hand, and dark circles under her eyes that suggested she had slept exactly 0 hours on the 17-hour transit. She was 22 years old, 5'6", and weighed approximately 62 kilograms. She did not look like a weapon. That was her first advantage. Professor Cale Veyron, Academy Director, stood at the registration terminal when she walked in. He was Cathari, tall, blue-skinned, with 4 arms folded in a gesture that universally communicated mild disapproval. He had overseen the enrollment of 11,000 cadets across 30 years. He had never overseen a human. Cadet Ellison, he said, reviewing her file on his data slate. Earth. Sol System. Deathworld origin. Classification, Apex Predator, soft form. He looked up. You are the first human to qualify for the Tactical Sciences program. I know, Mara said. She smiled pleasantly. It did not reach her eyes. Veyron set down the slate. I should be transparent with you. There are those on the faculty who believe the qualification standards were adjusted to allow for your enrollment. Political optics, they say, regarding Earth's recent union membership. Mara's smile didn't waver. What do you believe, Professor? He studied her for a long moment. I believe records exist for a reason. Your entrance scores were not adjusted. He paused. But I also believe that scores do not always tell the whole story. The Academy is not a simulation, Cadet. It will demand more than numbers. Good, she said simply. I was getting bored of simulations. The first challenge came within 72 hours, as challenges at academies always do. His name was Dravok Sol, a Thurvian cadet, 3rd year, with a physique like a geological formation and a social reputation built on the suffering of those smaller than him. Thurvians averaged 2.3 meters in height and possessed a skeletal density that made them functionally immune to the blunt force trauma that would hospitalize most species. Dravok was considered large even for a Thurvian. He intercepted Mara in the training corridor outside the zero-gravity combat suite. Deathworlder, he said, stepping into her path. His 2 companions flanked him, enjoying the theater of it. I've been reading about your planet. Gravity is what, 9.8 meters per second squared? Ours is 14.6. He leaned down, his bulk eclipsing the corridor lights behind him. You must feel weightless here. I do, Mara agreed. Fragile things break more easily when they feel weightless. He reached out and flicked her water bottle out of her hand. It clattered across the floor. Careful you don't float away. His companions clicked their jaw plates in Thurvian laughter. Mara looked at the water bottle on the floor. Then she looked up at Dravok, a long way up. Her expression was thoughtful, the way a person looks when they're doing arithmetic. You've got, what, maybe 40 kilograms on me? 50, she said conversationally. Thurvian skeletal structure, so your center of gravity is higher than it looks. Dense bones mean slower recovery when balance is compromised. She tilted her head. I'm just doing math. I do that when I'm nervous. Dravok blinked. You're nervous? Not even a little, she said. I lied about that part. What happened next took approximately 4 seconds. The Academy Review Board would later spend 6 hours analyzing the corridor footage. Mara had used a technique that human combat instructors called a sacrifice throw. She'd stepped into the grab Dravok attempted, redirected 230 kilograms of Thurvian cadet using his own momentum, and used the corridor wall as a geometric partner in the equation. Dravok hit the wall shoulder first. His 2 companions found themselves on the floor through a chain of events that the review board described, in their official report, as disturbingly efficient. Nobody had thrown a Thurvian in the history of the Academy. It was considered a physical impossibility. Mara picked up her water bottle. High-gravity childhoods, she said to no one in particular, build interesting muscles. Word travels fast in institutions built on hierarchy and competition. By dinner, every cadet in the academy knew. By morning, Professor Veyron knew. He called her to his office. She sat across from his desk with the same pleasant expression she'd worn at registration, present but unreadable, like a door that might open onto anything. Cadet Dravak has filed no formal complaint, Veyron said, which is fortunate for you. Unofficially, I'm told he has claimed he slipped. Corridors can be slippery, Mara said agreeably. Veyron set down his stylus. I reviewed the footage, Cadet Ellison. Silence. Where did you learn that? He asked. She considered the question seriously. My grandmother taught me the basic throw. She'd learned it from her instructor, who learned it from someone who learned it sometime in the 12th century. We've had a long time to figure out how to deal with things bigger than us. A beat. Most of the things on Earth are bigger than us. Veyron was quiet for a moment. In 30 years, he had never had a conversation quite like this one. I want you to understand something, he said finally. The Academy does not have a tradition of cadets like you. There will be more incidents. More tests, some official, some not. I cannot protect you from all of them. I'm not asking you to, Mara said. I know. He looked at her steadily. I am saying that I will not stand in your way. There is a difference. He picked up his stylus again. You are dismissed, cadet. She stood. At the door, she paused. Professor. Why did you push for my enrollment? Because someone did. The records show the application was internally sponsored. He did not look up from his desk. Because 400 years is too long for any institution to go unchallenged, he said. And because your entrance scores were, in fact, the highest this academy has recorded in 11 years. A pause. In any species. The door slid closed behind her. The months that followed became something of a legend. There was the endurance trial in the 4th week, a 72-hour survival exercise on a Class 3 wilderness moon, designed to break cadets through sleep deprivation and environmental stress. 3 Cathari cadets tapped out by hour 40. Mara finished with 9 minutes to spare and used them to start a fire and make tea, which she offered to the monitoring drones. The drones, being drones, did not accept. She drank it herself. There was the advanced xenophysiology seminar where she corrected Professor Dawn's anatomical model of a human nervous system, politely, with citations, and correctly. Professor Dawn updated the model. He did not apologize, but he updated the model, which was its own kind of language. There was the navigation crisis in the 7th month, when a training vessel lost propulsion in the Velarath asteroid belt and the senior cadet on board, Thurvian, naturally, though not Dravak, froze in the face of the calculations required. Mara ran the numbers by hand, in her head, in 4 minutes. She had learned celestial mechanics from her father on a fishing boat, navigating by stars, because on Earth certain kinds of knowledge are passed down through the hands before they reach the textbooks. The vessel returned safely. The senior cadet did not mention, in his report, who had done the math. Mara did not mention it either. She filed no report at all. When asked, she said she had been following the senior cadet's instructions. The reviewing officers did not believe her. They also did not press it. Some truths are understood in the spaces between words. At the end of the academic year, Professor Kale Veyron stood before the assembled faculty and read the rankings aloud, as tradition dictated. First in Tactical Sciences, Cadet Mara Ellison. Human. Earth. Deathworld origin. The hall was quiet in a particular way, not the silence of disapproval, but the silence of an institution revising its own definition of possible. Veyron looked out at the assembled faces. 63 species. 400 years of history. And one human girl who had walked in with a duffel bag and a water bottle and had not, at any point, asked permission to belong. The Academy's purpose, he said, folding two of his forearms behind his back, has always been to produce individuals capable of the extraordinary. This year, we were reminded what that actually looks like. He did not look at Mara when he said it. He didn't need to. She already knew. She was already thinking about next year. Somewhere on Earth, a grandmother who had taught her granddaughter to fall correctly, and then to throw, sat in a garden and knew nothing of any of this. She would have been entirely unsurprised.